in Ireland against Georgia Tech next Saturday. It's 86 degrees at 12 o'clock time in Temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey!
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, bird lady.
Well, ladies, we've made it to a Sunshine Turf Friday. There's excitement throughout the city because the Jaguars take on the Bucs tomorrow night. And yes, starters won't play, but it's still football, and everybody loves football. Before we talk Jaguars, Bucs, I want to talk about food for a quick second.
I like that.
I need an update from you, Taylor. We talked about this several weeks ago that you were going to do a deviled egg flight.
Yes.
And it's been bothering me that we never got the update as to whether or not you made them.
The brunch is next weekend that I was making them for. So,
okay.
Yes.
So we haven't done a trial run.
We have not done the trial run. I'm just going to go for it. So if I feel like you can't mess up deviled eggs in general.
As long as you get the yolk correct.
Yeah.
I just want to know if she's going to do it in the air fryer because I mentioned
boiled egg?
Yes, I mentioned offhand to.
There were several people shocked about
Yeah, my
I was
sister.
one of them.
She was grossed out. She was like, "There's no way she makes that in an air fryer."
I promise you, and you would not. She wouldn't know the difference. I promise. It's there. So I don't know if I'll probably honestly just actually boil mine. It's not that much of a time difference. You're still about 12 minutes ish each way, especially depending how you like your yolk. But yeah, so I am not doing a trial run. I'm going to just go for it. But I do have the list at home of the different versions that I will be doing. So definitely going to be doing the Chick-fil-A one. So I'm going to get some of the Chick-fil-A nuggets to do the Chick-fil-A version.
Love it.
I had already messaged my friend because he's hosting it. He just bought a house, and it's like rather than doing a housewarming party, he's doing a housewarming brunch. So I figured it's fitting. Eggs, but a little bit different
I don't
version.
want you in my house till 11 o'clock at night, so you can come over during the day.
You guys got to go after brunch.
There is a set out time from this party.
Yes,
correct.
Yes. And so I am excited about that. I truly have been thinking about them, and I'll see different versions pop up every now and then. So my list is like 12 versions long. I'm not sure if I'll get to all 12, but
I'm excited for this, and I'm glad that
I will send you guys pictures.
we have an update and there's a plan.
And
I hope
social will get pictures.
This is the way to
hope there's
begin.
leftovers.
This is the way to begin a feel good Friday.
right.
With talking about boiled eggs, deviled eggs. Which, by the way, since I got both of y'all's advice, I think, gotten better. We'll determine it today because I have them on my salad today.
Okay.
Did I do a better job of boiling the hard-boiled eggs?
I told you I recommended get the boiled egg maker.
Right.
You can do tons at a time. Well, like 8 at a time or something.
You said
like that.
13 minutes. So did Michelle, the queen in the building. So I kept them in for 13 minutes last night. So I hope that works. We're going to find out.
Did you ice them after?
Of course, for 35 minutes.
Good.
Whoa, that's a long time.
I'm proud of you.
I'm trying. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to be healthy. We do have my sister's wedding next weekend, so I'm trying.
Which I have to now say, who plans a wedding during football season?
Well,
That was a
'Cause that's what
controversy
you
on
said.
social.
yeah, but it's preseason, right? So initially, when she first got engaged, she comes to me and she's like, "Yeah, we're thinking mid-September." So the fact that it's the last preseason game and the last preseason game for the Jags ended up being on a Friday and the wedding
not
is
week 2.
Saturday. Honestly, I'm letting it slide. Our good friend, formerly of Jags PR, David Wolf, his brother got married 2 years ago, same exact weekend.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, I'm okay with the August as long as it's pre-college football starting, which I guess technically the Knowles do play that day.
Yeah.
But it's week 0. I'll give you that. Her fiance did play college football, so it's not like this isn't important to him. So I appreciate the fact that they went August, Lauren. We're not going to complain when there's people out here scheduling October weddings.
Did you see that controversy the last few weeks on Twitter?
Yeah.
My whole Twitter was that people arguing about it, and some of the comments honestly were hilarious. I saw one comment from a lady, and she quote tweeted and was like, some of you guys need to calm down. Like, my husband, like, don't get so upset about people not wanting a fall wedding is more of what she was saying. She was like, my husband literally asked me if I can hold off on our child's birth because it was due on a Sunday.
Trevor's going to be doing that as well. Marissa, can you wait until after the
I'm telling
regular
you, that's
season?
like, if you want to talk about good omens, like the best omen you can have if you're a Jags fan, and I know you don't want me to speak it, but I'm speaking it because I want to manifest it. The best omen you can have is that Marissa's due in January, because you know there will be a conflict with the playoff game. And honestly, if that means the Jags, that's what it's going to take to get the Jags to the playoffs, manifest it, folks. It's going to be great.
Some babies are born early. If she wants to go a little early, that's
No, we
perfectly
want
fine.
January. Just during the week. During the week.
That's what I was about to say.
No,
It's
we
like,
don't want it to be. We don't want it on
Jags
Sunday
are
or
scheduled
Saturday.
for a Saturday.
Right.
Jags kick off at 1, and they're like, Marissa's in labor.
Right. We don't want that, but we like this thought of this potential conflict. That's good juju, because that means if there is that conflict, that means the Jags are in the postseason. So we want to manifest that.
Well, it could all come down to week 17, and then in that case, that could also be the due date if it's early January.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
It is going to be something to watch, but certainly the most important thing is that Trevor, for the here and now, we'll get it to the joint practices, has looked, in my mind, I'll give him a grade of excellent. Like, some people would say, well, he's missed some throws here and there, but overall, every quarterback misses throws in a game.
Yeah.
I think he has looked really, really good this training camp. Yes, it started a little rocky, but that's because of the defense he was going against.
Yes. I think he's looked sharp. I think that there have been growing pains, but I think they're embracing those growing pains and the idea of, look, last preseason, they looked like world beaters. And once you got onto the actual football field of a regular season game, there was adversity, and perhaps you weren't ready for that adversity. I think that's why training camp has been structured the way it is, from the fact that we've heard from players the emphasis on physicality, to the fact that, you know, the stretching periods, like Doug has changed that up as well. It's on the players, like it is on you to take ownership of that.
Yesterday was not physical, unfortunately.
Right,
When Taylor
unfortunately.
got
I
to
was
go to
very
practice.
disappointed.
I think that you're seeing a simulated training camp, though, that reflects the trials and tribulations you will have to face during a season, which I think Trevor and company are embracing. They want to be challenged in practice. It shouldn't be that it looks like a laser show and everything is easy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that the connections that are growing, I mean, with BTJ especially, has been really fun to watch from the beginning of kind of where is, you know, Brian Thomas Jr. and the personality. People want a little bit more of that, but even on the football field. And then now I feel like progressively we've seen more and more, and we're seeing his speed. We're seeing why people were talking about him so highly, why people were saying he's still a first-round draft pick this last season. And it is great to see him and Trevor already start to form this connection. I mean, several times yesterday, I felt like I was looking, I'm like, oh, there he is again. There he is again. And that is a positive thing, because also we're not talking about once you get in game time, we're talking about these defenses having to now worry about Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. And oh, by the way, hopefully we run the ball better. So all of these things open up so many opportunities, which was very lacking last season.
I think Taylor Dahl is actually like the best science project that we can go off of. Yes, I'm calling you a science project, Taylor. The best science project we can go off of Jaguars training camp, because you were at practice yesterday. Your previous practice was what, a week earlier? 2 weeks earlier?
2 weeks, yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks earlier. So you are a great science project test subject variable as far as what you saw 2 weeks ago compared to what you saw yesterday.
Guinea pig.
Yes, guinea pig. We'll call you a guinea pig. So for you, you felt like it was night and day.
Yes, I do feel like, because when I left the first one 2 weeks ago, I was looking at it more so, and everything positive I had was coming from the run game almost. There was a couple good throws where I was like, okay, you know, I think he still hit BTJ and one in the corner of that one. But there were some drops in that game. It was starting to heat up at that point, but we weren't to the level where you felt like everybody was connecting. I just remember leaving and being like, the defense looks good and the run game looks good. And now yesterday, granted, no pads, so it wasn't like the full look that you would want to see, but I still felt like the connections between the wide receivers, and that's talking about Parker Washington, that's talking about BTJ. Obviously, Christian Kirk wasn't out there practicing, so I didn't get to see him. And so that's taking a massive element away from your offense too, and you're still seeing them drive down the field at what felt like ease.
Do you think, and we'll ask the listeners to weigh in on this too, do you think that there's a true competition at backup quarterback? Because I think they're telling us that there's a true competition at backup quarterback. But in my mind, after being out there every day, Mia, Mac Jones to me seems to be the backup quarterback.
Mac Jones, I think, will be, and I think the bottom line reflects that. And that's not to say that C.J. Beathard isn't being paid handsomely, not necessarily to the extent of some backup quarterbacks in the National Football League, but certainly if the Jags were to release him, they would incur some sort of, punishment, if you may, by the powers that be when it comes to the salary cap. But I think that he's so valuable to Trevor, and he is so valuable to that room and to that offense as a veteran voice. And as we've discussed ad nauseum on this station, the lack of a veteran voice was very evident down the home stretch of last season. And that's not to say that, and that's the problem, is like you're looking at CJ Beathard and he's like one of the most veteran guys in that locker room in December. And that's not to say that you're going to replace him with Eric Armstead and replace him with Darnell Savage and guys that have been in postseason runs before. But I do think that there is a level of respect there. So that's part of why you're seeing those 50-50 reps. And I also think, and we've heard this from Denny Thompson, our quarterback whisperer, we are progressing more and more. And I think Final Cut Day in a few weeks will tell us so much more, to a world in which where the value of even having that third quarterback on the practice squad is essential. Taylor, what do you think teams will?
Yeah, and I do think listening to Doug yesterday when he said they're very close, talking about CJ Beathard and Mac Jones, I believe that. And I think that there are decisions to be made, because if something happens to Trevor, do you want someone who is also still learning and trying to figure out the NFL and not quite set in his ways, as in a Mac Jones who has not been developed the proper way, to come in and take over your team? Maybe the way he plays fits closer to Trevor, and maybe they do like certain aspects of his game, but I do think there are pieces of CJ Beathard that they're more comfortable with because of the veteran side of it, because of the experience in playing in the NFL and just the level of games that he's played at. And so I do think it is probably a conversation, and maybe that's if there's room on the roster, and that's where the number game comes in. Do you keep 3? Because do you want this veteran guy? And like I said, God forbid something happens to Trevor, Mac Jones, like this kid who's hasn't been able to be developed in the proper way to have to lead your team late in the season into the postseason.
I did tweet this out yesterday, though, Lauren. I thought the 2-minute drill at the end of practice yesterday was the most in command I have seen Mac Jones in a practice. And now, granted, he was throwing to Gabe Davis. He was throwing to Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
He wasn't throwing to rookie wide receivers who are entering their first year in the National Football League, not named Brian Thomas Jr. But it was funny because you had two fields going on at once, and you have Mac just marching down the field on the Bucs, and then you have Baker Mayfield, who went 0 for 3. And listen, it's a very small sample size, but it says to me, whoa, like when you actually put Mac in that situation with the weapons that Trevor will have at his disposal, okay, we still may have something there. I see why Trent Baalke was willing to flip a 6th-round pick, especially, can I get this off my chest, please? Did you guys watch any of the Patriots game last night?
Very little.
Yeah.
Okay. I respect our good friends, Jeff Prosser and Dan Hicken, believing in the tantalizing skill set of Joe Milton. Do you know why the New England Patriots were able to draft Joe Milton? Where that 6th-round pick came from? It came from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. At this juncture, after watching Joe Milton get sacked, I believe 3 times in 3 minutes of game time last night, you're telling me you would rather, to this day, on August 16th, have Joe Milton as your third quarterback or Mac Jones? There's no question in my mind.
Oh, for sure.
And I also don't think there's any debate in terms of Drake May versus Joe Milton, by the way. Drake May looked awesome last night in limited capacity, yes.
Yeah, there's no question that as we sit here now, after everything that's happened, and we've seen all the training camp practices, that when the news first broke about the trade for Mac Jones and everyone was up in arms, now I think everyone realizes how smart that trade was, that Baalke was able to get him for a 6th-rounder. What if there's a team out there that has a quarterback go down and they like Mac Jones? I mean, you then are able to get way more. I'm not predicting that to happen. I'm just saying that's a possibility.
But again, I just think that if we're going to talk backup quarterbacks, again, do I trust CJ Beathard if you needed to throw him out there in a pinch? You did last year, and it was fine. But do I trust McCorkle to go in? A guy who has 40-plus career starts in the NFL over the last 3 years. Oh, and by the way, was a Pro Bowl alternate 3 years ago. I trust him more because I believe the ceiling is just that much higher. And it is higher than Joe Milton. I am tired of anybody who's out here saying we should have had a developmental guy. You just said it, Taylor. Yeah. Mac's still developing. The ceiling's higher. The floor is also higher.
I will be surprised if when we get to August 27th at 4 p.m., which is the official cut day, if it's not Trevor and Mac and then CJ Beathard on the practice squad. If they carry 3, I'll be surprised just because, like we've talked about, you'd think that there are so many other guys because of special teams value that they're going to keep. But certainly it's going to be a conversation of the next 11 days that we will be having. All right, we've got more to do. We have an interview that Mia did with Bucs linebacker Kaylin DeLoach, obviously former Florida State Seminole. So we will get to that when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. You can visit them at sunshineturf.info or call 904-892-0580. We love our friends at Sunshine Turf. You will too. You can also see their latest project on our 1010XL Instagram page. You are listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
There's a certain romance to radio play-by-play.
We need you to be all strong and hot.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Jennifer, Luxury has a new address in Jacksonville.
Oh, do tell, John.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard. We've got over 40 Cadillac Lyrics in stock.
40? That's incredible. Any color you want?
You bet. Pick your color and drive away today. Plus, we're giving away a free home charger with every Lyric.
Fantastic. Anything else?
How about a car you'll never have to change the oil on?
No oil changes ever? Now that's luxury.
Randy Marion Cadillac, where Jacksonville meets luxury.
Visit us today on Southside Boulevard and tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T. And are you ready for the ultimate college football season? Using MyBookie Sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just sign up at mybookie.com and you're ready to rock. Whether you're rooting for your alma mater or your favorite team, there's no better way to experience this season than having action on the game. And when you know your team well, it's an easy way to take advantage of procs like team win totals and early picks for playoff contention. Last year, MyBookie had some of the best odds on the market for the Wolverines to win the championship. And Michigan bettors who backed their squad saw 10 times the return on their wager. Lock your futures in now while you're waiting for the season to begin and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus up to $1,000. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Come on, somebody.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade, perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app online or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season with your loved ones when you take cooking off your plate with Chick-fil-A. See restaurant for details.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Greenlaw Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Greenlaw Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Greenlaw Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Greenlaw Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices. Visit sunshineturf.info today.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound? And a signing bonus. Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Share your voice anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Are you serious? Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
If you can't call or email, text us 641-1010.
for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 August 24th at Daytona. Answer this question. Who won last year's Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name to 641-1010.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Hi, I'm David Lane, your average everyday Joe. I'm 5 months out of my back surgery with Southeast Orthopedic, and I'm doing great. Thanks to Dr. Herford and his staff at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
If you're searching for a new fence installation, challenge yourself to find a fence company with more positive online reviews than Superior Fence and Rail. With over 3,000 reviews and a 4.9 out of 5 review range, Superior Fence and Rail is, well, superior. So take the online challenge or let their professional team show you what superior service looks like. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dollar, Jay Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Our good friend Anton Harrison is asking people whether they like regular M&Ms or peanut M&Ms. Instead of giving his food takes, he said he's switching it up a little bit. Of course, this is the right tackle for the Jaguars. And so today his question, regular M&Ms or peanut M&Ms? I mean,
I personally like all M&Ms,
yeah.
But I do like the peanut M&Ms because I am that like sweet, salty type of person. But you can never go wrong with a normal M&M.
Yeah, this is where I always say I don't eat chocolate. I don't like chocolate. I don't
That's so
eat
crazy
it.
to me.
I know. And so I will abstain from answering the question.
That's like the only sweet I like in my life is chocolate.
In case you missed it, by the way, he's also got like a graphic, the food with takes ton, like, and the return of FTT.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this. This is like, I mean, yesterday was about biscuits and cornbread. Now we're on the
other day
M&M.
he said watermelon was overrated.
Crawfish is a waste of my time.
What?
It is a lot of work for crawfish.
Crawfish
though.
is so easy if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, but it is like you get this baby amount of little meat.
I say that blue crab to me is like that, where you don't get much meat. But crawfish, I mean, I can help.
It's like a
people
little
if they need
nugget,
it.
and you got to work for it.
All right, Mia, you caught up with FSU's Kaylin DeLoach. I bet he likes crawfish.
Yeah, absolutely. His dad's always serving up a good low country sea boil up there, or low country boil up there in good old Savannah. So had a chance to get to know Kaylin during the pre-draft process when he was in high school still up there. His dad runs a little, they call it the factory. And so they had all of the big-time Division I recruits, both basketball and football, since his brother actually played basketball, started at VCU at Georgia. Now he's at Loyola Chicago. Sister ran track at Ohio State. The genes are incredible in that family. The work ethic is also unmatched. And so it was great.
That's why they call it the factory.
That's why they call it the factory. It ain't for everybody. So yeah, his dad's done some awesome stuff, especially if you're a Knowles fan listening out there in Healigan Nation. You know the DeLoach as well. Papa doesn't mess around. So it was great to catch up with Kaylin, not only about his journey to Tampa Town, which, look, I mean, he was a guy who performed as well at the combine as any linebacker. Doesn't get his name called the way that he hoped to during the NFL draft process, but has found himself very much in the mix behind, of course, some established veterans in that linebacker room. Pleased to be joined with Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker and, of course, former Florida State Seminole, Kaylin DeLoach. Kaylin, good to see you, buddy boy. Been a long time.
It's been a minute, but I'm glad to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I just said to you off air, it's been so enjoyable whenever I see your dad retweet, whenever I see your name pop up, because your route to the NFL probably just as much of a journey as your route to Florida State. Walk us through the the pre-draft process, post-season process that's gotten you here today.
It's been a lot of training, for real. So a lot of studying, day in and day out, and, just grinding, trying to figure out how this thing goes and just understanding, just listening to the leaders in the locker room who I got in the locker room, like Devontae, KJ, JJ, and just understanding, like, what I need to do and understanding how it needs to be displayed out here on the field. So just taking it day by day and just understanding my role and go out here and be my best, put my best foot forward every day, and, just work, grind.
Being at the Combine, the Noles put on a show.
Oh, yeah.
You come out of the Combine, walk me through those 3 days of the NFL draft for you personally.
A lot of meetings with teams, so you do all that from sun up to sundown, and then you got time to go work with your 40 start and just make sure you're moving, because you come off the plane, long flight, so you got to make sure you're moving, because that's really the main thing. And then so leading up to the Combine, we participated in drills the first day. Then I think the next day we did the run. So just understanding why I was there, just to go out there and showcase who I am, showcase my speed and my athleticism day by day. So that was my job, my main focus leading up to the draft.
And then at the draft, disappointment or excitement for you when you said, you know what, this is an opportunity for me?
It really. I said it was an opportunity for me because I knew everybody back home was watching, so I just knew I wanted to make the most of it, and you only get it one time. So, just trying to take advantage of the moment and, just put my best foot forward out there and, let God handle the rest.
Why was Tampa the fit for you?
I like the defense. There's a lot of blitzing, and, I feel like that's what I'm good at. I can get to the quarterback, and a lot of man coverage too, so I feel like that's what it's a no-brainer. Those are all the things that I can do, so why not?
What from your Florida State career do you maybe apply as we get towards the end of the preseason here?
Just making sure I come put my best foot forward every day. Make sure I'm continue to get 1% better, and don't take no days off. Make sure every rep my best rep, and I just hear Coach Novell's voice in my head. Just keep pushing. So that's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, now the fun stuff. Yeah. Mike has gotten, I think, more praise in the Jaguars locker room than in his entire coaching career, between Jarian, between Darby.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at Florida State and where that program is headed as an alum, describe your emotions.
I really wish I had another year, just to go through it again, because from my second year there, it's been nothing but better each and every year. And I just like, the way Coach Novell pushes you every day, each and every day in practice. And make sure you're going to get your best. And, it definitely shows out on game day. But from an alumni, I'm just excited to see these guys, go out there and do their thing this year. Hopefully go win that national championship that we didn't get last year. But just go out there, compete and just do what they do. Go win.
Because I think people forget, you were recruited by Willie Taggart. It would have been easy for you to change your recruitment, and you didn't.
Yeah.
Now looking back on that 6 years later, what does it mean to you that you didn't?
I'm glad I stayed throughout the whole process, because, like I said, I'm glad I got the experience with the guys I got the experience with, because, that's really what made me stay. Those guys, we all said we were going to stay, and we was committed together. So I feel like, they helped me throughout the whole process, just seeing them go through the same thing I'm going through, and just having somebody I can lean on throughout the process. So, that was really my main thing. As long as I got somebody to do it with, I'm going to stay. So.
All right, tell Jaguar fans, I think they already got a taste, Kaylin, but tell me what they are getting in Jarian Jones.
Oh, yeah, very athletic, he's loud, competitive, and, he's a dog at all cylinders. I wish I could have got the chance to play with him one more time, but like I say, he's a dog, he's going to compete, so that's what my boy Jarian Jones got.
Jarian gave us the scouting report for the Noles secondary.
Yeah.
Give us the scouting report for that front seven this year.
I'm going to feel bad for other teams, because, how do you game plan against that? It's like you got Pat Payne, you got Josh Farmer, then you got Daryl Jackson, then Marvin Jones. Then that's too much to worry about. I feel like they're going to be dominant in all three phases, D-line, linebacker, DB. So I'm ready to see how it goes and, what they do this year.
Ready to see what they're going to do, ready to see what you're going to do, Kaylin. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Pretty elite scouting report, too. I mean, that's all you got to do with him and Jarian. You just talk ball, and then they deliver. So, yeah, I think that that Kaylin has proven from his steadfast commitment to Florida State, to the journey now over the last few months to the NFL, he's going to be in the league. There's no question in my mind, because for someone to look at that whole Willie Taggart situation, to stick it out with Mike Norvell, not transfer, the maturity and the commitment that you have to have as a human being to go through that. I mean, I would equate it to, Jalen Hurts, albeit on a different scale, but, the being benched, coming back to lead Alabama, then being transferred to Oklahoma, having to learn I look at guys like that and I say, it doesn't matter what the league throws at them. They are going to find a way to win because they're just built different.
Yeah. And I think we will talk to Allison Posey later in the show on Florida State. And I want to give credit to the guys, too, that stuck around this year after the way that last year ended. You lost the quarterback that you thought you could win it all with, but also the chatter around that was if you weren't in the ACC, you could probably be in, and that has to be discouraging for some of these guys. So the guys that stuck around this year too, which was a decent amount, the ones that didn't get drafted, the majority of them stayed. Props to them too, and so that gives a lot of credit to Mike Norvell and what he's started to build in Florida State. And
I'm sure he's explained to them that won't ever happen again.
Yeah.
If a team is 13-0 now with the 12-team college football playoff, that
you're in
situation, will absolutely never happen again. You are 100% in as long as you win your conference championship, which of course FSU did last year, beating Louisville. As far as the Mike Norvell, that's the voice in his head when he is working hard, and that keeps pushing Kaylin to work hard. That to me is like the greatest compliment you can pay someone. Is like, that's the voice that I hear when I need to push myself.
And we heard that from Jarian.
We did.
And again, Jarian's another guy who transferred into FSU and was there for 4 years. And so again, could have left again with this age of the transfer portal that we live in, but said, no, I'm playing for Mike. And I think that it's so wild for me, number one, to obviously see where the Jacksonville Jaguars are in the 2+ years of Doug Pederson, but remembering all too well that the day that Urban Meyer was fired was also the day of Fire Mike Norvell Twitter Spaces. People wanted the guy just the heck out. They thought he was a bad coach, bad hire. Florida State's got to start over. And a credit to Florida State University for sticking by him. Mm-hmm. But it also says that they were right and they clearly listened to the players, because it's not lip service that these guys continue to say, even once they're in the league. That is the voice in my head. That is something that I don't think I saw coming 3 years ago, but it's an exciting development in the world of college football and the NFL.
Certainly it is.
And look, a plug as well, Lauren, if you want to watch that interview or any of our interviews, of course, 1010XL Jaguars for the Jaguars stuff. That interview with Kaylin is up on our 1010XL Seminoles channel. It actually literally went live. I don't know how they do this. John and Jacob, they're magicians. It went live just as the interview went live. And so that is now available on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, look, that's what Florida fans are hoping, is that patience is going to reward them just like it rewarded Florida State with Mike Norvell. All right, when we return, we will go around the sports world. There were some very interesting firings yesterday, and also this name, Mia, you may know it. Taylor, I bet you don't. Mauricio Pochettino. Mm-hmm. If you haven't heard it, I'll tell you who that is next. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. Give our friends Caleb and the whole Sunshine Turf team a call, 904-892-0580. It's a Feel Good Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The hottest trend in casual dining has expanded in Jacksonville with its 5th location off 103rd. The Flame Broiler serves up protein-packed rice bowls. It's fast, healthy, and affordable. Order online at flamebroilerusa.com or visit any of our 5 locations. Flame Broiler, simply healthy.
Lauren Brooks here. Circa Resort and Casino has an incredible all-in package for Duval in December. For only $500, tax and resort fee included, get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. Join us Heels Friday night for a Jacksonville pep rally with specials and giveaways. To book the Jacksonville Game Day Getaway and join the Heels in Vegas, visit circalasvegas.com today.
Mia here, and why Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned? Because when it comes to selection, you don't want to have to compromise at all. You want to get it all, and that's exactly what you will find at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Just listen to this. Over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 100 pickups, over 50 luxury vehicles. That, folks, is over 600 cars, and they are all in one location. Maybe you're buying your kid's first car, or you're on a tight budget and really need some wheels. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18K. And if you're looking for buying confidence, you've found it. When you buy from Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, you get 60 days to love it or exchange it. 60 days. Need a little credit help? Arlington has your back with the Credit for Everyone program to help get you financed. Why Arlington? The better question is, why not? Don't wait. Shop Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. In person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Prosser here. Hey, pick a news source. But the reports are home prices are expected to decline in 2025, even after the election. So you need to maximize your home sales price now before this downturn, and you can do it with the agents proven to sell for top dollar, Chad and Sandy Newman. Hey, perhaps you're worried about selling for less money with a lowball out-of-state instant offer, or maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how. That's why you turn to Chad and Sandy, who have the answers. No required costly repairs. Chad and Sandy are the local real estate experts I trust and recommend for the sale of your home. Tony and Maggie at Jack's Golf and Country Club said, "We recently had a job transfer and we needed to sell fast. With homes in our area struggling to sell inside 100 days, we didn't know what to do. Our worries were solved when we hired Chad and Sandy. Our home sold in 3 days for one of the highest prices ever in our neighborhood at over $1 million. Call the local experts we trust, 904-414-6200 or ChadAndDSandy.com.
Lauren Brooks here to tell you about Mayport CNC Fisheries preseason football special. $5 off any 100-count bag or 30-pound box of oysters, all preseason long. Bring football season back like a local with Mayport CNC Fisheries in Atlantic Beach.
Did it rain a lot this morning?
No, it was nice and sunny.
Well, the backyard's kind of swampy.
Huh, yeah. Especially where the septic tank is.
Oh, no. When was the last time we had our septic tank pumped?
Don't neglect your septic. Just call Duck Duck Rooter, your local plumbing and septic experts. DuckDuckRooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
What's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 16, 2008, legendary American swimmer Michael Phelps wins his 7th of 8 gold medals at the Beijing Olympics on the 100-meter butterfly.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home, or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
At Farrah & Farrah, our philosophy can be boiled down to one word: respect. Respect for every client, regardless of who they are or the size of their case. Respect for innocent victims, and respect for the law. So when the insurance company thinks they can bully you instead of paying a claim, we respectfully disagree. If you're hurt, call Farrah & Farrah. We'll help you get the respect you deserve. Call 800-500-5555. Jacksonville.
Hey, Hickett here. I want to talk skin along with my friends at Beaches Dermatology, reminding you to wear your sunscreen. Football season is back, baby. And with that, days under that bright sun. So when you load up that truck for the game day tailgate, or the chairs for your kids' flag games, or even the boat heading downtown to watch our Jags, make sure you bring the screen. Sunscreen, that is. It's a must here in Duval. But if you have any concerns right now, give Beaches Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
Want to show your kids something really cool? Take them by the Kuhn Flowers window display on Beach Boulevard. 1010XL's RJ Saunders here, and there's no better way to introduce your kids to Kuhn Flowers. For over 75 years, Kuhn Flowers.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Backup QB Mac Jones spoke after yesterday's second joint practice on his approach to the last 2 preseason games.
It's different, right? You know, some years you're the starter and you may not be playing much. It's a lot of times the coach's decision, but I always want to get out there and play as much as I can, and I think that's good whether you're the starter, backup, third, or fourth. It doesn't matter. You want the reps in the game.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jags take on the Buccaneers tomorrow night with kickoff at 7:30. Catch the game live on 1010XL. JTA Game Day Express is back. Save gas and avoid parking hassles as the Jaguars take on the Buccaneers this Saturday. Let them do the driving. With multiple locations around town and passes starting at just $10 on the My JTA app. To learn more, visit JTAFLA.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Appropriate music for a Friday. A little Shabuzi. Taylor Dahl is here. Mia O'Brien. RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. All right, so yesterday, Brian and I went to dinner and watching TV, and on the scroll at the bottom is the news that RG3, Robert Griffin III, and Sam Ponder were fired. I don't know how I missed that. I was working on a lot of stuff yesterday as far as high school football, but I still don't know how I missed the fact that they were fired until last night. I was literally shocked. Mm-hmm. First of all, I think Sam Ponder does a tremendous job, and I'm not going to get into any of the politics. That's not our arena. But she is such a smooth host. Mm-hmm. She knows her stuff. She knows when to lay out and let the guys go to town, and she also knows when to insert herself. Yeah. She's a fantastic human being is what it seems like from all accounts. We don't know her well, but having followed her career from the time that she was on the Texas Longhorns network a long time ago to obviously Game Day to now, I was so incredibly stunned. There's not a lot of things that could happen in the sports world that would surprise me as much as yesterday's news about Sam Ponder.
Yeah, it was wild. And I learned Sam Ponder later, but RG3 like right away, because I think that one got way more attention, at least on my side of Twitter. I think because a lot of people were also connecting it to Florida State, like he had been defending Florida State.
Oh, there's a big brain theory out there. RJ, cue up the X-Files music. RG3 married to a former Florida State Seminole track star. Sam Ponder married to a former Florida State football star.
Yeah. It's weird. I like both of them personally. I think that RG3 in the beginning, I remember hearing him for the first time call a game and being like, ooh, don't know if I love this. I think he's progressively gotten better. I also think just on air in general, he adds a little bit, like he's a little goofy, but it's kind of fun to watch because he adds his personality of like the quirkiness, and he'll do whatever, like he's running sprints on the sideline to, get whatever content he needs to get. I do think that the political side does bleed into this, unfortunately. I think even on Twitter recently, it's kind of been like, I don't really know what he was doing, because he would just be like, this big political moment happened. What are your thoughts? And I think a lot of people were kind of like, we don't want that. Like, we're on here to talk about sports and think about sports. And we don't want to say shut up and dribble. We're not there. But it's also like, we're here because you're a former football player and we want your insight on that. So I do think that maybe that bled into things, but it is wild because I personally like both of them. And as you were saying, Lauren, watching Sam Ponder, I think she is fantastic in every aspect of anything she's done. She's just a pro.
So I'm going to go off of just the reporting, courtesy of fellow Ithaca College bomber Andrew Marchand of The Athletic, from what his sources, which he's probably the number 2 guy in sports media next to his colleague Richard Deitch at The Athletic. So I'm going to trust what Marchand's reporting says, which is that this was, quote, a purely budget move. From that perspective, knowing that both these individuals were making 7-figure salaries, knowing that ESPN is trying to cut corners wherever it can, knowing that at this juncture, Sam Ponder was really just hosting Countdown. That's probably on ESPN, that they didn't find other jobs for her. So I'm going to put that at their feet. RG3, they went out and they hired Jason Kelsey to take his Monday Night Football spot. So perhaps the writing was on the wall. He was still doing college football and the NFL, though, which is where I view that as like a valuable commodity if you have someone who can do both. Yeah. But again, unfortunately for me, I look at this and I say, while we believe that there may be some political reasoning behind it, There's always politics. It's media.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have media without politics, unfortunately. Ditto to sports. It's the ugly underbelly of it all.
Yeah.
But I also think that this is, again, speaking to that larger narrative of they let go of Susie Colbert 2 years ago, one of the longest standing hosts at ESPN. But again, it came down to what are you doing? And I think what furthers that argument of this is a cost-cutting move is, have you seen who the top 2 leading candidates are to replace Sam Ponder on Countdown?
Mm-mm.
Our good friend, Laura Rutledge, who literally does every job under the sun. I don't know how the woman sleeps. I've told her that as well. And Mike Greenberg, who we know does not sleep because he does every single job at ESPN. And so for me, from the local television perspective, since I spent the better part of a decade in local television, what I can tell you is that we are seeing the same trend we see at the local level when it comes to, okay, you won't do the job for X amount of dollars. I'll just go hire a young, cheap kid out of Bozeman, Montana, who I can pay $42,000 a year, as opposed to the $100,000 that someone who's more established, probably better at the job too, or at the very least has more credibility in the market. If they're demanding that much, I don't want to pay them that. Whatever, I'll go get the cheap kid, or I'll get someone who will do 6 jobs for the same price.
And I think you're good. I think that had they gone to them, let's say in March, and said, we want to expand your roles and we need you to do more things, that could have been a conversation. But my issue with it, Taylor, is the timing of it. Football season is now underway. So these two have been prepping as if they're going to be either hosting or analyzing football, and both really, for months now. And now you tell them in August when football season is literally just a few weeks away. Like, that to me is also an issue.
Well, also, and I think to your point, Mia, that's why people are getting frustrated with ESPN. And honestly, not as many people have steered away from ESPN because you have people covering sports that are not experts in that sport. I don't want one person covering 75 different things. I want the best person who is a NFL analyst covering the NFL and the best college football analyst covering college football. People complain about Stephen A. Smith when he talks about baseball. Like, you don't know what you're talking. Like, you don't watch baseball.
He
you
could
don't
be
care
cost cut, in my opinion.
Yes,
and
that's just a tiny example that popped in my head. But like, that's the problem with ESPN at this point, is they want to take this person. Like, you'll do it for cheap, number one, but you'll also do 75 things, so we don't have to hire all these people. But we want the people that are the most knowledgeable at the sport they're covering.
Quantity over quality.
Yeah.
It's honestly. And
we want quality.
Right, exactly. And that's the problem. And you get quality when people have less on their plate, as opposed to having to do 10,000 jobs. But unfortunately, again, we are seeing, I've been witness to it. I've lived it. We are witness, and that's not to say that's why I parted with my previous employers, by the way. That's nothing to do with that. Although philosophically, I think that is where this is headed, you know? I mean, that's where it is in local television, and now we're seeing it seep into network, albeit at a different level. This is not a case of we're going to go hire the kid from Bozeman and ESPN's going to pay him $100,000 as opposed to having to pay Sam Ponder $1 million. It's not that. But it is at a point where they say, okay, do we really need this woman who we're paying $1 million to when I don't know how much they're paying Laura, but she can do 17 jobs, and then we have one less person we have to pay. And because we're so concerned about the state of streaming and the state of the economics of our stock and the mouse and everything else that plays into that, this is where we're trying to get ahead of ourselves if our bottom line returns are not what we expect it to be at the end of the fiscal year.
I think Laura Rutledge is good at her job, really good at her job, but I think she's going to be stretched too thin. And Samantha Ponder is someone who has been, to your point, as far as the NFL. I mean, Christian, yes, played at Florida State. He also played in the NFL as far as a quarterback goes.
He was a top 15 pick. Never forget, America.
Yeah, he wasn't great in the NFL, but he did play in the NFL. She understands that world really well. And because that's the only thing she was doing, she was able to watch a ton of football. There's no chance that Laura is able to watch as much college football and as much NFL football as she needs to, because they do have her doing too many things.
Yeah, and that was my point. I feel like you are making all of these people, to make it easier, and someone on the text line had just commented saying that...
What's their name, Taylor?
I know. I don't have your name. If you want to send in your name,
Please do.
2129. But they said, I think the issue probably is that they can't pay for the quality anymore. ESPN was making a ton of money in cable packages, and they're not making that anymore. And so, yeah, that is part of it. But there's so many other ways that you can figure out between streaming and all of these other things, ESPN's still making money. It just is they're taking the cheap route, and they're like, hey, we have these people that they're good. Like, they're sufficient at doing this job. They can talk about college football. They can talk about pro football. We can throw them in a Major League Baseball game. They'll be okay. They'll do it. They'll sound knowledgeable because they work hard to make sure that they at least can cover what they're covering. But at the same time, it's not somebody who literally spends hours and hours watching this one sport and being able to report on that at the highest level possible.
Let me simplify this even further, again, with the local TV component. I'm not suggesting Mike Greenberg is going to be picking up a camera and also being his cameraman. But what do you see at the local? Over the past 20 years, what have you seen in local television? Once upon a time, Dan Hicken was the sports anchor. Now, the sports anchor also has to shoot their own stuff. They have to edit their own packages. They also have to post their web stories. It all comes down to, can you do as many items as possible on the assignment list and also do it for collectively what is cheaper comparatively to what it would have been 20 years ago.
And then you wonder why people don't watch the way they used to watch.
Right. And I think if you bring it to radio, because I think radio is completely different than television, if you're asking someone to do too many things, they're not going to be as good at their job and talking and analyzing about sports because they're not watching the sports because they're doing too many things. And so there's obviously a fine line that ESPN wanted to go into, and that was, we'll pay a guy like Stephen A. way too much money, but yes, we're going to cost cut with these two individuals. And so to me, I think there has to be more to it because Sam Ponder seems like someone who, if you asked her, I don't know RG3 very well, but it's, like I said, I've followed her career, her entire professional career. She's somebody who's done so many different things that I'm sure that she would have done more, even though she is a mom of three. And I'm sure she loved her once a week schedule with, just the Sunday show, but I'm sure she would have done more. I know once upon a time, she used to live in Arizona and fly to New York on weekends just to be able to cover stuff. And it was cheaper to do that than it was to actually live in New York.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again,
I'm going to fight to the death for Samantha Ponder. That's what I'm going to say.
I love Sam Ponder too. The reason, like when people used to ask me when I was in college what I wanted to be before Maria Taylor took her position, I used to say Sam Ponder. So it's not to say I don't appreciate Sam Ponder and didn't look up to her as a kid. Yeah. I, unfortunately, am the cynic who has spent the better part of the past decade being witness to this machine. And so that's why I sit here at this table today, for those of you watching on YouTube, and just kind of have my hands folded because I'm not surprised.
But Stephen A. doesn't go and do extra things.
Yeah, he does. Oh, my God. Do you know how much Stephen A. does?
You're talking about the editing and like all that stuff.
Well, no. I'm not, again, Lauren, I'm not saying that they're going to do that. What I'm saying to you is Stephen A. does First Take. He does a podcast. He does NBA Countdown. He does ESPN Radio when they need him to do it. He does other stuff with his own YouTube channel on the side. So, yes, he's not picking up a camera, but it's the equivalent to that of he's doing 5 different things. Laura Rutledge.
And that's why he gets stuff wrong.
Yeah.
Because he's
right.
doing too many things.
Well, Laura Rutledge is doing the SEC Nation. She's doing NFL Live Monday to Friday. She is doing Monday Night Football at different times, or she's calling games for the NFL on ESPN. Like, again,
sideline reporting.
Yes, this is.
And Sam has done all that, so that's
right.
To my point. Did they ask her, will you do more?
I have no idea.
Right.
But I'm just telling you, this
said
is the world we
also
live in.
the FSU 2 year, because we were talking about at the top of that how RG3 married to a former Knoll, Sam Ponder, and someone who goes the anti-FSU ESPN conspiracy theory gets deeper. Ponder and RG3 just days after sticking up for Florida State, obviously with all the Feinbaum comments, both of them were kind of vocal about that. So it's sad. It's sad to see that. Hopefully someone's calling her and RG3 right now to figure something else out.
Yeah. All right. I teased Mauricio Pochettino earlier. We will tell you who that is when we return. We just had to get too much into the firings of Sam Ponder and RG3. You are listening to a Sunshine Turf Friday edition of Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL. Professional radio broadcasters.
Hey, sorry.
Dinner dozen gifts. A diner dozen.
That is awful.
So Cole.
I was flowing real good, then wasn't I?
You've got to be kidding me.
Professional, for crying out loud.
Who wrote this?
1010XL.
Do the Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
At Garber Auto Mall, we can wiggle it. Best price, we can wiggle it. Best trade value, we can wiggle it. Best payment, we can wiggle it. Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, with 8 American brands, we can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or online at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Mia here, ready for the ultimate college football season? Using MyBookie Sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just sign up at MyBookie.com and you are ready to rock. On MyBookie, it's not just about picking winners. It's an easy way to take advantage of props like team win totals or early picks for playoff contention. Last year, MyBookie had some of the best odds on the market for the Wolverines to win the national championship. And Michigan bettors who backed their squad saw a 10 times return on their wager. Lock your futures in now while you're waiting for the season to begin and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus up to $1,000 on that first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to start the college football season off with some house money. Don't ever miss out on the action. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget to use that promo code 1010XL.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? StoneCore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit StoneCore today and let's beautify your home together. StoneCore.co. We do outdoors better.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Here come rock and roll Hall of Famers. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. The Last Encores. Saturday, February 1st at Florida Theater. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com. Don't miss Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons live.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Are the company's Zoom calls getting boring? Might be a good time to order some new logo caps or temporary tattoos. Check them out online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems? Gun charges? Drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp fall to the Memphis Redbirds last night 6-0 after taking the first 2 games of the series. Memphis Redbirds' Gordon Graceffa fired 6 shutout innings to earn the win for Memphis. The Shrimp will look to bounce back in a doubleheader tonight with the first game at 5:05 as Shrimp Darren McGoffin will take the mound. Gators quarterback Graham Mertz has earned a selection to the 2024 Manning Award preseason watch list. The Manning Award is presented to the top college quarterback following bowl games. Mertz led the Southeastern Conference by completing 72.9% of his passes with a career high of 20 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. This Sunday on 10:10 a.m., you can hear the NASCAR Firekeepers Casino 400 starting at 1:30. Ryan Blaney, the defending Cup champion, is the favorite, already having 2 wins this season. It's 87 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time in Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Wow! I feel good.
It's a feel-good Friday.
We're gonna have a good time together.
And that would be good.
So good!
Text or tweet something that makes you feel good today.
I hear good things. Really good things. Cheers to the freaking weekend. Drink to that, yeah. Oh, let the demo sun sink in. Drink to that, yeah. Don't let the...
All right, Mia, you know who Mauricio Pochettino is, right?
I do. However, before I tell you who he is, I'm going to read from PFT commentator, of course, of Barstool Sports, when that hire was announced. Who is that hire? We'll get to that in just a second. He's tweeted out, initial reaction. He looks like a mix of Ted Lasso and Ron Swanson. The United States men's national team in soccer is so back.
That's right. He is reportedly the new U.S. men's national team coach. And so I have several things for this Feel Good Friday. But number one, the fact that Alexi Lawless likes the hire. I heard him on Colin Cowherd's show.
That's a rarity, so we'll take that.
Correct. So the moment that I heard that, I said, okay, Alexi is certainly knee-deep into all of this. And Pochettino has been a head coach of places like Chelsea and PSG and Tottenham. So he's obviously got a lot of experience. He's coached Kylian Mbappe, obviously one of the best soccer players. I say obviously. For people who aren't soccer players or soccer fans, they probably don't know who Mbappe is. But by far one of the best players in the game today. And so he's going to take this team in a new direction, more attacking style. If this hire is finalized soon, I'm just very excited that the United States team ahead of the World Cup in 2026 is going to have some fresh blood. And I think that's what they needed.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that what's going to be interesting is that there were other candidates as opposed to the women's side, Lauren, where they go out, they literally got the number one name on the market. Emma Hayes was the target all along. Now they have an Olympic gold medal 2 months after she was hired. And so not to say we're going to compare to the men to the women, but we are.
Don't do that.
Because one is the far more successful and they just became more successful and looks like the ceiling is so much higher because of the hire that they made.
That's right.
And so that's where I look at the fact that Jessie Marsh, who of course, the Canadian national team manager, was someone who I think was on the short list. There were certainly some other former EPL managers that were also on the potential list of candidates. And so that's where I wonder if it'll be a bit disappointing if, let's say, yeah, it's a more attacking style for the United States, but it doesn't translate to a quarterfinal or a semifinal appearance in the World Cup. And so therefore, it's just like, well, okay, he got us out of the group stage, but is that what defines success for the men's national soccer team. Look, it's better than not making the tournament at all, which was the case 5-6 years ago. But
don't lose to Trinidad and Tobago. That's certainly a bar that they have
I wonder
to
what
set.
the standard is and what will be deemed successful. I understand it's the United States. They're not going to win the World Cup in 2026. Sorry, it's just not.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
That's like saying Florida would win the national championship this year.
Correct. Exactly.
They
Great
could get
comparison,
there, but not
Right.
this year.
Great. No, I don't know about that. But I'm just saying. Point is, that's
they can get there.
They could get to the playoff. You're saying.
I'm saying Florida one day can return.
Oh yeah.
To,
one day they could.
Yeah.
Correct. And
Yeah.
you could say that with the United States men's soccer team too. But yes,
They've been there in the past.
Right. I am just curious what's going to define success. But as we were just talking about, Taylor, with my interview with Kaylin DeLoach yesterday, if you had told Kaylin in Florida State in 2020 or even 2021, when Fire Mike Norvell was a constant refrain on the internet,
that they wouldn't lose a game
in the regular season. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if people would have believed you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it's out of the realm of possibility for the United States get to that point, but it's
where do you think that patience level is for the fans of that are like diehards?
I think the realistic ones understand that there's a lot of work to do. And again, we are so far behind other countries in the sport when it comes to the men's side. We were way ahead of the curve when it came to the women's side, but not as far as the men's side. And so I think the realistic fans understand that getting out of the group stage is an incredible feat. Yeah. And then there's the crazy ones that think the United States, some people really think that if no one played football or basketball in the United States, that the United States would win gold or would win the World Cup in soccer. That's not at all. That's not the reason that the United States doesn't win. It's not because they're missing a 6'7" guy out on the pitch, right? That's not at all what it is. By the way, Alex from the UK said, I know who Pochettino is. The United States is getting a top football brain. He's done amazing in England and before that Spain. I see it as a surprise move, but if you are the U.S., snap him up.
Well, 762 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, points out, I'm just glad they didn't hire another MLS manager with a below 500 career record.
Exactly.
I'm not
Nobody
just
likes the
saying
MLS,
simply
guys.
going across the pond for your next hire is an immediate check mark for me, but unfortunately, it's a low bar to clear over the past 26 years of American soccer. So check. At least you did that.
Exactly. All right, my other Feel Good Fridays, I want to say thank you to the J Fund. They sent Brian and I a wedding present, which is so very sweet. They are the
Love
best.
them.
This really nice bottle of champagne, so thank you to the J Fund for that. Speaking of Brian, he is getting to surf. He got a new custom board in January, and the waves have not been good enough. Even when we went to Puerto Rico, the waves weren't good enough. So he's surfing that board right now. I hope he's having a blast. And then finally, I met my uncle yesterday. And
You met your uncle. Oh,
yes,
I was like,
no,
okay.
yeah.
You've known your uncle, but
yes, met up with my uncle. That's a better way to say it. Thank you. And he delivered me some bold peanuts.
I'm jealous.
So
I want some.
I would share them with
I
you.
can't believe you didn't
I didn't
bring
get that many. So, but yeah. So thanks to my uncle for making the bold peanuts for us, and they'll be gone this weekend.
My Feel Good Friday is that we are closing in on the final stage, round of applause, RJ, of what we have dubbed Cobbapalooza in my family. That, of course, is my sister, Kara O'Brien, who we call Cobb. We finally have the big wedding next weekend. And with that, the summer of Cobb comes to a close. For those of you who have followed along on my social media, you probably have seen it has been quite the journey, all over the Eastern Seaboard, multiple ceremonies, multiple events, and it all comes to a close next weekend. So we're in the home stretch. My dad liked my maid of honor speech, which was weighing on me for the last week and a half because he wanted to see it. He wanted to edit it. We've come to a compromise on a couple different things. So
I was like, don't make it 25 minutes long, Mia.
And since I won't be here for next week's Feel Good Friday, yes, a toast to the happy couple, and yes, a toast to all of us in our extended family that will no longer have to hear my mother and my sister complain about this big day.
See, my family got off so easy.
Yeah, I know.
So easy.
Yeah.
They loved it. All right, Taylor, your Feel Good Friday.
Yeah, so my Feel Good Friday is, I have two also. Number one, I'm so excited for the weather this weekend because I feel like every weekend for the past month it's been like forecasted rain, thunder showers, going to be a chance of rain at this point, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of messed up certain plans I've had because I just want to like sit at the pool for one full day and not do anything else. And this weekend is the first time that I've looked at the weather and it's like sunshine, sunshine, and also not 98 degrees, so that's nice too. But also, aside from that, announced yesterday, the Bears are playing their starters tomorrow, so it's Caleb Williams' debut at Soldier Field. I know it's just preseason game number 2, but it's definitely going to be a big moment there. And to still see some of the starters will be fun too, because there's definitely a little more anticipation of some of the guys and what's going to happen in Chicago versus what's here, obviously, with the rookie quarterback. So
Can you watch the Bears at the pool?
Yes. Well, there'll definitely be TVs. I actually have a birthday party Saturday, so during that time, so I'm going to have to make sure that there's TVs with the game on or on my phone. I guess I'll be that person that's watching it on my phone. But yeah, football, sunshine in the pool sounds fantastic to me.
I love that. When my cousin got married many years ago, during her bridal shower, this is how football oriented my family is. During her bridal shower, we had the NFL Combine on. Because it was that time of year.
Again, to bring this show full circle, this is why you don't have weddings during football season, folks.
Well, but that certainly wasn't football season, like February.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But still,
But that's how intense it was. Combine.
It was Combine. We needed to watch.
I was thinking about that because Graham Marsh is getting married, and he's getting married. I was like, it's draft weekend, right?
He does.
And he was like, I do, but like, don't worry, like we'll have access. It's also Saturday, so it'll be, it's
Kevin's
day 3.
still very concerned.
And I'm like, we have to watch the NFL
He already
draft.
brought his concerns to Graham's attention, and Graham was like, I know, it's at night.
And I'm like, we all have a
It'll
sickness.
be over.
Well,
So I've told y'all this before. My good friend, when she got engaged and knowing my schedule, came to me and said, we want to get married in the fall, but when is a good time? And I said, pick a Friday night. Now, of course, after high school football season ends, which they did, pick a Friday night and I won't be stressed whatsoever. And that's exactly what they did. So you can get married in football season. You just have to do it on a Friday night when high school football is over. That's it. It's really not that hard.
Yeah, I did go to that wedding in December because of that exact reason. Because I was like, okay, if you pick a Friday and the Jags ended up having the Sunday night game on Sunday, I was like, okay, I could fly up Friday morning and fly back Saturday. That's okay. We can make that work. That's all good. All fine and good.
All right, so speaking of, not weddings, I shouldn't say that, but a Jacksonville connection, you caught up with former Bishop Kenny Crusader. I was going to say, speaking of high school football, certainly he had a great career at Bishop Kenny and then went on to Wake Forest. And Johnny Wolford now is a backup quarterback for the Bucs and battling Kyle Trask for that spot.
Yeah, and he's still a guy who takes a lot of pride in Jacksonville. And lest we forget, Lauren, he's also a guy who has known Mac Jones for a long, long time. And while they'd never actually overlapped in high school, the fact that they were on the same practice field this week, I think that was, we're going to play this interview here just momentarily, but I do think that that's one of those things that like we take for granted. Like it was like, oh, they're both out there. They're both Jacksonville kids. But like that was like you'll hear it in this interview. But I think that was one of those like aha moments even for John as well, to be like, wow, I cannot believe that this actually is happening, especially because they do train together a little bit in the offseason. Here he is, John Wolford. Pleased to be joined with Buccaneers quarterback, Bishop Kenny's own John Wolford. John, welcome back to Jax. How does it feel?
It feels good. Obviously, I was driving across the bridge today and saw Bishop Kenny High School and came to practice, and it kind of all came full circle, so it was cool to get out on the field.
How often do you get back to BK?
I try and get back at least once a year. I get up to Jacksonville to visit my dad and see some family and friends. I actually train up here as well, so I'm here a good amount, and I try and get up to Kenny and see Coach Krause and Coach Thorson at least once a year.
Because you're with Denny and the 6 Points crew?
I'm with Tom Gormley and those guys. Yeah.
So obviously that in and of itself is a whole story, because where you guys started with that crew, and even quarterback training in general when you were in high school to where it is now here in Jacksonville, just describe the evolution.
Yeah. Obviously, those guys, Tom especially, who's my business partner in a few ventures, is one of the best out there in terms of training. He is the best out there, hands down, and you can just look at his clientele and you understand why. So he's helped me a bunch in my career, and there's a reason that more and more guys are coming to Jacksonville to train. It's because the quality of training is what it is, and players come here and they get better. So a lot of respect for what he's been able to do and able to build, and just got to be a part of it.
I can only imagine for you as a native seeing like the number 1 draft pick, Caleb Williams, like rolling in. I mean, emotionally for Jacksonville to be the place for quarterbacks, what does that mean to you?
It's great. Obviously, Jacksonville's a great city. It's where I grew up. A lot of fond memories here, and just what they've been able to build over there at Cortex. There's a reason why guys come train here, right? You're going to get better if you come here. So it's good for the city, and it's good for the quarterbacks, quite honestly.
All right, back in Jacksonville as a member of the Buccaneers, though, what does it mean to be back in the state of Florida again, playing in the National Football League?
It's great. Obviously, it's been a wild ride, and every game's a blessing. You never know when it's going to end, and you just got to take advantage of every opportunity you get. So just going to do my best to prep for Saturday and keep throwing punches.
What's your expectation in terms of, have they told you reps-wise Saturday? Are you starting, Kyle starting?
I think we're going to split the game in terms of playing time, and I don't know if it's like, first quarter, second quarter, first half, second half, how it's going to be it.
Yeah, last one for me. Mac Jones, a guy who I know with Tom you probably have done some training with. Did you guys in high school play against each other?
We did not. Unfortunately, the Kenny Bulls rivalry was not on the football field at that point. But obviously we knew each other growing up, and then it's been great to see Mac. He's a funny guy and works really hard, so a lot of respect for what he's been able to do.
Is it kind of wild to wrap your head around you and Mac Jones both on a football field in the National Football League together?
Yeah, back in Jacksonville. It's kind of cool to think about two of Jacksonville's native quarterbacks that have made it to the league are on the same field, so it's cool.
John, thanks so much.
Yeah.
And I thought he looked pretty good this week in joint practices, Lauren. And I don't want to turn this into a Kyle Trask did not look as good.
He threw some picks.
He threw a couple picks yesterday to Eric Hallett, which, again, if you had Eric Hallett with 2 picks on your bingo card in joint practices, credit to you. Head to Vegas immediately. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 until you get there.
Well, it's funny, too, because before practice started, Doug specifically was talking about Eric Hallett, too, and how good he's looked in camp in general, and then he gets 2 picks.
Yeah, he heard about that, so he said, I got to show out.
And look, I mean, the irony was not lost on me when you see Kyle Trask trot out there, and then you see Baker Mayfield and John Wolford, and Kyle Trask is like a full head taller than both of them. And I'm not suggesting that is why the quarterback battle looks one way or another, but it did feel like to me that in terms of completion percentage, in terms of efficiency, running the offense, credit to John Wolford, because not only did he showcase that skill set with the Rams in a playoff game, yes, people forget he did start a playoff game once upon a time, but I felt like he was in much more control of that offense over the last 2 days at the very least.
Speaking of Jacksonville quarterbacks, Georgia quarterback Carson Beck, of course, originally out of here, Mandarin, has signed an NIL deal with private jet company Airstar Charter. He joins Quinn Ewers and Jackson Dart as the only college athletes with private jet deals. Trevor over here is still flying commercial, and these guys have private jet deals. Yeah, amazing. All right, when we come back, Taylor has a tangent. We also have our Chick-fil-A giveaway. Keep it right here on a Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Ever wonder what Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser did before the drill?
You're wearing tuxedos to a job that requires you to clean bathrooms.
Dan and Jeff.
I'm proud of what I do.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Watch where you step. Watch where you squat.
Well, all the news forecasts say that home prices are expected to decline in 2025. Hey, that's great if you're buying a home. But if you're selling one, you might want to get to it. And when it comes to selling your home, the agents you should trust are Chad and Sandy Newman at chadandsandy.com. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how. And you don't want to worry about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Those things are all out with Chad and Sandy. They're the local real estate experts you can trust, and I recommend for the sale of your home, or for the sale of mine for that matter, maybe I should look into it. Hey, don't trust me. Trust Jacqueline from Biscayne Estates. My inherited home became a nightmare when it went unsold for 177 days and ended up with a large lien. With expenses mounting for my handicapped daughter and no way to pay, I was desperate. At this point, I turned to Chad and Sandy. The change was amazing. Chad and Sandy sold my home in 3 days at a higher than asking price. Find out for yourself at chadandsandy.com or 904-414-6200.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Lauren Brooks here. Come test drive the Mazda CX-90 engineered to fit your lifestyle. Take advantage of 1.9% APR for up to 72 months on a 2024 Mazda CX-90. That's the largest 3-row SUV that Mazda offers. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interest first. And get this, you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires September 3rd, 2024.
The hottest trend in casual dining has expanded in Jacksonville with its 5th location off 103rd. The Flame Broiler serves up protein-packed rice bowls. It's fast, healthy, and affordable. Order online at flamebroilerusa.com or visit any of our 5 locations. Flame Broiler, simply healthy.
Tailgaters parking season passes are on sale now. Secure your Jaguar season parking today. Enjoy indoor restrooms, a full-service bar and grill, access 4 hours before kickoff. Visit tailgatersparking.com and book your space today.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why? Their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again. Trust me, a lender told me last summer this is unheard of across the country. 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Sunshine State says it all in the nickname. That summer sun in Florida can take its toll on an air conditioning unit and send your electric bill through the roof. Florida Home AC can help you handle the heat with a brand new AC unit with low monthly payments and over $3,000 in federal tax credits on select systems. So this summer, don't sweat it out. Cool off with Florida Home AC, the official AC company of the Jaguars. Call them today, 777-4300, and check out their tremendous savings on a brand new AC system.
It all comes down to Daytona and the Coke Zero Sugar 400 race weekend, August 23rd and 24th. For your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 August 24th, answer this question. Who won last year's Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010. Who won last year's Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010 for your chance to win.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. And if your dream is to create that space where you're living large in your backyard, then you need to get with the good people at CSS. They put a gas log in our fireplace, an awesome fire pit out back where the kids can toast s'mores and we can just hang out and watch the game. It's all part of your outdoor living experience with CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices. Visit sunshineturf.info today.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Green Law Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Green Law Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Green Law Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Green Law Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Want to show your kids something really cool? Take them by the Kuhn Flowers window display on Beach Boulevard. 1010XL's RJ Saunders here, and there's no better way to introduce your kids to Kuhn Flowers. For over 75 years, Kuhn Flowers.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Couple of shout outs before we get to Taylor's Tangent, as well as a visit from our good friend Allison Posey of WCTV in Tallahassee, days before she jets across the pond with the Noles to cover Florida State, Georgia Tech over in Dublin. Want to give a shout out and a round of applause, RJ, to the UNF women's soccer team. Thank you to our friend Charles for pointing this out to us. They defeated Miami last night. which is the first ever win over a Power 4, so sad we typed that, a Power 4 opponent for the Lady Ospreys. Their next match is at defending national champion Florida State, who blanked South Florida 5-0. And, of course, UNF also announcing yesterday that they are unveiling a wide range of improvements, enhancements, Lauren, to UNF Arena, including
the
new
locker rooms,
rooms, the new meeting room as well. And so a round of applause for the Ospreys at large. We were discussing weddings earlier. We were discussing fall weddings, ladies.
By the way, Florida's first soccer game, the Florida women's team plays Western Carolina tonight, 7 p.m. So they've only played exhibitions to this point.
Okay. One of our Heeligans out in Colorado wanted to make sure to text in on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
That's where my parents are right now, by the way.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You can have weddings during football season. I'm getting married at Pool Cabana 8 an hour before the Colts game. A round of applause,
Wow,
RJ, for the Warfields, who will... Apparently, that's still a thing. You could still get married at Everbank Stadium, which, ironically enough, my hairdresser mentioned that to me earlier this week. Can you still get married at the stadium? And I was like, I think so. And she's like, maybe that's what all you gals should do. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be marrying work with marriage. But hey, shout out to the Warfields. Mazel tov. We'll be looking out for you week 5.
By the way, I lied. My parents are not in Colorado. They're in Wyoming. They've already made it to Wyoming.
Wow.
So, yeah, travel day for them. In case you missed it, they're on a 7-week excursion all over the United States. All right, right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
We talked a lot here about a guy named Brian Thomas Jr., rightfully so. He's been, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I feel like just getting better and better week to week, and I'm super excited to see him in real game time once it happens and trying to see how these defenses really figure out covering all of these different weapons. But it's got me thinking about just in general when it comes to the wide receivers in the league. And then I started thinking about how this wide receiver class could go down as being one of the best ones we've ever seen. And the more you research it, and this is camp, we still have to see these guys obviously in real game time, but when you go through the list of guys and the list of wide receivers that were drafted this season, and when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously people were expecting him to be incredible, but everything I've heard out of camp is he's not going to disappoint. He's going to be here for a long time. We're going to be talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. for a long time. But then aside from that, too, I've heard a ton of really, obviously, Rome Odunze in Chicago. I've heard a lot of really good things about Malik Neighbors. I feel like they're kind of like solely relying on him kind of.
If the quarterback can get him the football.
Yeah. Like, hopefully, in their mind in New York, I think it's like Malik Neighbors is going to be the person that can possibly start changing things offensively, but it's going to be a lot up to Malik. But then we talk about Brian Thomas Jr. here, but I've heard incredible things about Xavier Worthy earlier. I just saw some really good plays from A.D. Mitchell. And so it's wild to look at this list of wide receivers and talk about all of these different ones. And by the way, that's not even talking about a Keon Coleman, who I just did a podcast with one of the Bills guys, Dom Tibbetts, and he
Second Ithaca College reference on the program today. Continue, Taylor.
He was referencing Keon and how incredible Keon and how quickly he's picking up the playbook. And how they honestly are kind of thinking that right now, maybe to start, not wide receiver 1, but they could see him being that guy by the end of the season. And so when you go through that, like I said, so if we look at the draft, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy. I haven't heard a ton about Ricky Pearsall, but he was injured for a bit. So he was just getting
back. Be hearing a lot
late.
more if Brandon Ayuk actually gets traded.
Yeah, for sure. Xavier Legette,
They
he
liked
also
Pearsall
was hurt
before his injury.
Sure, yeah. Legette also got hurt, but pre-injury, we were hearing a lot about him coming out of camp too. And then after that, it was Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey. The Chargers are very high on Ladd McConkey and how they don't even think there's going to be a dip-off in their offense because of what they think he'll be able to bring almost immediately. And then you look even behind that, and you're talking about a Jalen Polk, and I mentioned A.D. Mitchell, Malachi Corley, Jermaine Burton, Roman Wilson, Jalen McMillan, who we just heard yesterday is expected to be a big piece of that offense too. How wild, looking back at this wide receiver class now, is it? And like we already knew, it was already talked about as one of the deepest wide receiver drafts we've seen in a long time. But already in camp, you're hearing all of these different teams in different parts of their building process, too, all saying that they could potentially be big pieces of their offense.
Yeah. High school football has changed. And so, we always see the trickle down from the NFL to college to high school football. These guys, Mia, are playing 7-on-7s. And when it gets to being drafted, I think we're going to continue to see, to Taylor's point, I think we're going to continue to see really deep wide receiver classes from here on out.
I think, and I saw an early report yesterday, I forget which outlet it was from, that this upcoming NFL draft will be one of the deeper corner classes that we've seen. I think that the proliferation of 7-on-7 is why you're seeing a stronger pool in terms of cornerbacks and safeties, because there's only so many wide receiver spots on a roster.
Yeah.
And so some of those players have to say, you know what, I know I'm right there, but I got to flip it on over to the other side of the field because that's how I can make the team. And so that's where I think that pool is deeper than it was before. And iron sharpens iron. And so that's, I think, a big byproduct as to why I also think just with the expansion of, not the expansion, but the proliferation of West Coast offense,
I was about
spread,
to say
air raid.
How close our college offenses are to the NFL compared to what they were previously.
You need more wide receivers. You need more bodies. We saw the Jaguars carry 7 wide receivers a year ago. While I don't anticipate they will this year, they very well could, because they certainly have the depth in that room that they could. And in turn, I think that you are going to see, just quite frankly, across the league, you see, okay, we need to make sure we have the guy who stretches the field. We have to have the bigger bodied guy. We also have to have the slot guy, but we also have guys who can back them up. And that is not a conversation that I don't think that we were having to that degree 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun to watch. And look, Brian Thomas Jr., that's how you started, Taylor. He was called unguardable by some Bucs media yesterday. And so over the last 2 days, he showed off his speed. And other guys that are running with him are about as fast, but it's not always about just point A to point B.
Yeah.
It's how good you are at running routes. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I have no idea how much we'll see him tomorrow night against the Bucs, but it's going to be fun. Certainly week 1 against the Dolphins. Everyone's going to be talking about the Dolphins receivers heading into that game, but we'll certainly know the Jags receivers and are going to potentially put on a show. All right, do we have lunch for 4 today, Taylor?
We do have lunch for 4. A family 4-pack to Chick-fil-A. So go get lunch for you and the whole family. Let's do caller number 1 today at 641-1010.
And when we return, we will chat with Allison Posey ahead of her trip to Ireland for FSU Georgia Tech. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. You can find them sunshineturf.info or call 904-892-0580. Look, with all the rain that we have and with all the heat and everything, grass sometimes can be overrated. You want some artificial turf, and Caleb and his team will do a fantastic job. Allison Posey is next on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Mia here. Are you ready for the ultimate college football season? Using MyBookie Sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device, no app needed. Just sign up at MyBookie.com and you're ready to rock. Whether you're rooting for your alma mater or your favorite team, there's no better way to experience the season than having action on the games. When you know your team well, it's an easy way to take advantage of props like team win totals or early picks for playoff contention. Last year, MyBookie had some of the best odds on the market for the Wolverines to win the national championship, and Michigan bettors who backed their squad saw a 10 times return on their wager. These types of bets highlight why it's worth it to lay an investment before the season begins. Lock your futures in now while you're waiting for the season to begin and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus up to $1,000 on that first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to start the season with house money. Don't ever miss out on the action. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there for the Jaguars 2024 home opener when they go head-to-head with the Cleveland Browns. Join us as we celebrate Hispanic heritage and take the field at Everbank Stadium for the first time during our 30th season. Lock in your seats now for the 1 p.m. kick by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you back at the bank.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence. Served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Mia O'Brien here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. If water flows through it, the team at Duck Duck can install it or repair it. From septic tank pump outs, drain field installations, clog drains, water heaters to repipes, they do it all. And they do it well. But don't just take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google and see what customers just like you are saying about their experience with Duck Duck Rooter. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit duckduckrooter.com to schedule service today.
It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332. Go to flyskylife.com and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Training camp is about the basics.
Focus on the fundamentals.
Every time something you need to know happens at training camp, you'll hear about it on 1010XL. Brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control and Roland Reach Plumbing.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker. Because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Head coach Doug Pederson shared how both QBs Mac Jones and C.J. Beathard will each play a half in tomorrow night's game against the Bucs. Jones spoke to media yesterday on the competition for the number 2 QB job.
I've competed my whole life, and I find great joy in competition. I try to just be myself. I'm not going to change because of one thing or another. And like I said, I think we have a great room here. Trevor and CJ, they've been awesome, and you want to bounce ideas off each other and compete every day. And sometimes we have these net challenges and stuff, and it's like 3 brothers out there just throwing the ball. So we compete in that regard. We compete in every other regard. At the end of the day, we're on the same team, and we're all working for a common goal, and that's every good team that I've been on, that's the case.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. Listen to the game live with 1010XL. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
I know preparations are underway. It's part of what's delayed us having a weekly chat, a little catch-up, a training camp catch-up with none other than Allison Posey on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. The first female sports director in the state of Florida, of course, covers the Knowles and so much more out in Tallytown. How are you, my friend? How was doggy pickup?
Doggy drop-off was great.
Oh, drop-off, not pick-off,
yes,
ladies. I misspoke.
It was drop-off as we get ready for this trip to Ireland. I have a busy weekend, so they're better. They're more entertained there than at my house, but it went great.
So when do you actually depart for Ireland / what are some of the other things you guys are prepping for, you and your WCTV team, ahead of the big game next weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So we leave Tuesday. We leave Tuesday night out of Orlando because anybody that's ever flown out of Tallahassee knows that you're giving up your firstborn child to fly out of Tallahassee. So it's expensive. So we're leaving out of Orlando. We arrive in Ireland Wednesday morning at 9:45 Dublin time, which is like 4:45 here. And then that Wednesday, we've got all kind of fun stuff planned. We've got just, it's going to be a great time. But kind of a cool thing for us in Tallahassee, a lot of people don't realize they have it's called the Global Ireland Football Tournament. There's a high school portion of this week as well. So there's 6 high school football teams playing, 4 from America, 2 are actually from Europe. And one of them is Maclay, which is a Tallahassee team. So we have Maclay playing on Friday night, and then we turn around to cover Florida State and Georgia Tech on Saturday. So we've got fun things planned with Maclay. We're going to learn how to play Gaelic football, hurling with them, taking, of course, the sights and sounds, the food, all that fun stuff, and then, pep rallies, all that jazz. So it's going to be a busy week, a fun week, but a busy week for sure.
That sounds fantastic, honestly. Like you said, it will keep you pretty busy while you're there, but a good time. I want to rewind a little bit. I know we want to look at this game coming up as Florida State kind of kicks off the college football season. But this week, Allison, there were some comments by Paul Feinbaum that really got some people going. And we talked about it the other day on this show, how, I kind of said, like, logically, if someone wanted to argue some concerns about DJ or the loss of talent to the NFL, some of those things, I would respect that. But I just couldn't respect the comments of saying that because they didn't get into the playoff and those tiers are going to affect this season in a negative way. I just did not like that comment whatsoever because, in my opinion, Allison, I feel like it would, if more so for Mike Norvell and the guys returning, light a fire under them a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Ever since last December happened and Florida State was held out of the college football playoff, there has been a fire. So anytime that they hear smack talk or people doubting them, I mean, it's like anybody, tell me I can't do something, I'm going to prove you wrong. So yeah, this team, whatever Paul says, whatever anybody says, they're ready to go. And I hope the college game day people are ready on Saturday because they're going to have a lot of angry Florida State fans there that I'm pretty sure are going to have no qualms about voicing their opinion. And I don't know if you guys saw that, with the firing of RJ3 and Sam Ponder yesterday, the conspiracy theories are going even more crazy because RG3 is married to a former Florida State track and field athlete, and Sam Ponder, of course, is married to Christian Ponder. So it's like Florida State's just being screwed all over because you have Paul saying his stuff, and then RG3 and Sam get let go from ESPN, and they're married to Florida State people. So it's just all the fuel is just being added to the fire this week.
For sure. Allison, the $1 million question, how does DJ Uiagalelei look in this offense?
He looks good, and I think the staff, the coaches speak so high of him. I mean, he's a humble kid, hardworking kid. Tony Tokar's quarterback's coach was saying the other day that he's just that's who he was as advertised is who he's become. They were like, when we recruited him, we kind of thought what we were expecting, but he's all of that and more. I mean, he's been a mentor to the younger guys. He's fit in well. I mean, this offense, a little bit of questions around it. I mean, the receivers, Norvell praised them the other day, but they've left a lot of questions. I mean, it's all new guys. I mean, we're losing Johnny Wilson, losing Keon Coleman, obviously huge holes on this offense. So So the receivers haven't looked great during fall camp, so concerns a little bit there. But DJ's fit into the offense, and being here since the spring has definitely helped that. I mean, he's fit in just fine, and the players and the coaches alike have just nothing but really good things to say about him, which has been cool to see.
You can find Allison on X at Allison Posey 14. She is a sports anchor reporter for WCTV Sports out in Tallahassee, of course, covering the Noles, and we'll be traveling with them to Ireland for next Saturday. It's crazy to say, Allison. Next Saturday's Week 0 opener against Georgia Tech. Let's stay with the Noles a little bit. I want to ask you a little bit about Georgia Tech as well and some of the insight you've gotten on the Yellow Jackets squad. But let's stay with the Noles on the defensive side of the ball. I spoke with Kaylin DeLoach yesterday. We, of course, have spoken to Jarian Jones over the last few weeks during Jaguars training camp about this defense. There's no denying they lost a lot to the NFL and to graduation. But from speaking to those guys who are now in the NFL, they think this defense could be even better than last year, and there's even more reinforcements on the way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, anytime, one thing, if anybody's followed Florida State football over the last couple of years since Mike Norvell's been there, he's done a good job at hitting the portal and getting guys from the portal. He's done that. We were just talking about DJ. DJ's a portal guy. Defensively, he's done that too. And I think they're right. I mean, I think if there's any concerns about this Florida State football team heading into the season, it's not on the defensive side of the ball. They have a lot of guys, younger guys that are ready to step into those roles. It's more the offense that I think people are worried about, but I agree with Jerry and Kaylin 100%. The defense is not what this team needs to be worried about. I'm excited to see them step up, and they've been praised all camp, especially the secondary. The secondary is a group that I think is going to be really exciting to watch. And I just, again, no concerns with the defense. If anything, it's kind of the offense, what's going to happen with all those new faces.
Yeah, I think when we do talk about the defense, the name that most people, I think, have kind of gravitated to, Allison, has been Marvin Jones Jr., and rightfully so. But I do think another important player is going to be Patrick Payton. You know, it kind of flirted with the portal at the end of the season last year, decided to stay, which Norvell did a good job of getting his guys to stay. But with a guy like Jared Verse gone, he's definitely going to get more attention this year. So word on him so far and what kind of impact he can make right away this season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been named to the Bednarik watch list, too. I mean, you talk about guys that are getting the eyes of people. He's one of them. He's got big shoes to fill, but we saw him a little bit last year, too. So, again, guys that are having to fill bigger roles, but guys that are not unheard of. We talked about the portal. Marvin Jones is another portal guy. But, yeah, Patrick's got big shoes to fill, but they know it, and this team's ready. And they've looked good all camp. Like I said, nothing but good things to say about the defense. I'm not worried about them at all. I'm excited to see what they can do and what they can do against. I know you guys wanted to get into Georgia Tech a little bit, but Georgia Tech's offense is not bad. I mean, Coach praised them. He said one of the better offenses in the ACC this year. So I think they'll be tested a little bit. Obviously, King, their quarterback, had a good year last year, had a historic year for Georgia Tech, but also was high in the ACC in a lot of stats too. And they're going to have to work to contain him this week.
Yeah, Tech scored at least 21 points in every game last season and averaged 36.1 points in their 7 wins. So like you said, even though we trust Florida's defense, it's going to be really a fireworks show potentially week 1 or week 0.
Yeah, early, week 0, the 24th. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. Like I said, I think if I had to put a wager on it, I think the defense is going to have to step up and make some plays because I'm just not 100% sure sold on this offense. I don't know how many points they're going to put up just because there are so many fresh faces. Running backs I am excited about. You know, Lawrence Toafili is a guy that had moments last year that has looked good, so we're going to see him. They did bring in some other guys too, but they're young all the way around, so it's just kind of questions on how is DJ going to connect with these younger receivers. How are they? The offensive line, for the first time in a really long time, has a lot of depth, which is exciting for Florida State. And, of course, games are won in the trenches. So if they can open up some holes, open up some space for these running backs to run, hopefully they can do something. But I think it's going to matter with this Florida State defense. How are they going to limit that Georgia Tech offense? And hopefully Florida State can step up and score more points and get the win.
As we wrap up with you on the Garber Automall hotline, Allison, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. The focus is solely on Georgia Tech. However, I think a lot of people looked at this schedule and they said, oh, this is an easy 5-0 start for the Noles. No big deal before you got to face little old Clemson come October in the first week. But I look at this schedule now, and I see Haynes King, and I see Tommy Castellanos and BC lurking Labor Day weekend. You tell me, are the vibes in Tallahassee as strong as the 5-0? It'll be a cakewalk to that, or is there a little bit of little trepidation?
Depends who you ask. And it's weird too because we have Cal. We travel to SMU, which it's like these are ACC games now. Like, what is life? It's weird. I don't know. I think we're going to learn a lot about this team week one. I know a lot of people are high, and they say, this is a very winnable schedule. It's in their favor. I mean, you saw that playoff predictions that they came out with. They're a top 4 team in some of the playoff predictions, which I think might be a little bold. There's a lot of unanswered questions that I just don't know with this team yet. I think it's possible, yes. But I'm with you. I mean, I'm interested to see what they look like after week 0, heading into that Boston College, that, Labor Day night game, all eyes on you kind of matchup. Is it possible? Yes. But I'm interested to see how everything comes together in that first game of the season. Because like I said, there have been parts this fall camp where things have not looked good offensively. And then there's been some shining moments. So it's just how can they do on game day when it really matters.
Allison, no, it's a very, very busy time for you between doggy drop-off and getting ready for Ireland. So really appreciate you taking a few minutes with us.
Absolutely. Anytime, guys.
There she goes again, Allison Posey. You can find her on X at Allison Posey 14 and, of course, on WCTV. Didn't even realize that note about the high school front, ladies. That's cool. Really fascinating and makes the trip even more worthwhile for those folks out in Tallytown. Let's cool it down a little bit, RJ.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Excited to see the backups for the Jaguars tomorrow night. And while certainly fans always want to see starters, the 53-man roster, I think a lot of what we see in the final 2 preseason games will go to determine what that looks like. And so there's going to be a lot of battles out there on the field tomorrow night. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's different when it comes to, I feel like we're used to having these steps of cuts that used to happen, and now it's more so, I think August 27th is when you have to have that final. So it is a little different because you don't have the gradual buildup. It's going to be a little more time for them to decide and see a little bit more of these guys when it comes to in camp and practice and then all 3 preseason games. But also at that point, it's just like, goodbye to all of these people that we've been kind of following along with. But we've talked about it a ton, how important and how interesting this depth chart is building this season, because you do have your starters and foundation, but there are so many battles behind those main guys. And also guys that we can hope that in the next 2-3 years are starters on the team, especially maybe some of the offensive linemen and defensive linemen.
We love our Heeligans. You always keep us in line. RJ, you're going to need to go back to that third segment, Reese, Sam Ponder, and RG3. This is from 327, quote, "She knows when to lay out and let the guys go to town. Sorry, had to. That's a drop." Without further ado, let's welcome in a special guest for the 2-minute drill.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Coach Campo is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is, fresh off of joint practices, reuniting with so many of his friends on the Bucs side as well as the Jags. How are you, sir?
I'm good. And listen, I really starting to feel like 1010XL since I'm doing this. This is my first time, and it's good to see you guys.
We miss you, so we love to see you. Initial impressions, or I shouldn't say initial, now it's post impressions from those 2 joint practices.
Well, first of all, I love the joint practices because I think you really see the a little bit more competitive nature, and you don't know the other. It's like going into a ball game, because when you practice against yourself all the time, you kind of get a feel for it, and you may look a little bit better than you actually are because you kind of know the guy's movements. Well, that doesn't happen in the league. So playing against somebody different, I think we held our own in most areas. I really felt, that other than I was a little concerned with the interior of the offensive line with some pressure on the day they had the pads on. But other than that, I thought we handled ourselves pretty well in other areas.
Coach, when we were all a little disappointed, we didn't see the pads yesterday, but this weekend, some of these battle starters not playing. But what are you most looking forward to? Offensive line, defensive line, secondary? Where are you looking when it's coming to building this final depth chart? What you see is most important?
Well, we're going to get into that roster here in a little bit. But to me, first of all, I want to see what the wide receiver, who the back end of the wide receivers are, who's going to show up in this ball game. That's one of the things. And then the other is you're always looking at the fronts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the one thing about this roster, I think, you build from 22 plus. They brought some guys in, the Morses and the Armsteads and guys like that for the starters. But if you're going to be a really good football team, you're going to build from the 22 starters to the 53. And I think this team has shown, especially in the second half of that Kansas City game, that we've started to do that. And I want to see that again because there's a lot of guys that have got a chance to make this team.
Yeah, this team has come a long way from where it was a few years ago. Thank you, Coach. We'll be listening.
You got it.
Coach,
we love you guys.
We love you, and I know you'll be locked in, of course, tomorrow in the press box, but I also know you'll be locked in Sunday. Yankees, Tigers, Little League World Series.
The roller coaster of the Yankees and Coach Campbell.
Here come the judge. See you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Yes, everybody have a great weekend. That's going to do it for us. For Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Of course, don't go anywhere. XL Primetime comes up next. These heels are made for talking, and we will talk to you on Monday.
Lying when you ought to be truthing, and you keep losing when you ought to not bet. You keep saying when you ought to be a changing. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda dealers. Now you can watch 1010X